Spoilers for the following projects. Hello, and welcome to Pub and Fig. In this video, I'm going to go over all you need to know before you watch Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. If you are new to these types of videos, just know I will only use previous Marvel projects for reference, and using no marketing material or anything outside, although I will use one thing. How I'm going to section this video is breaking it up into two parts. The first part will look at the Black Panther, like what the mantle represents and who T'Challa is. And the second section will go over what we know of Wakanda and Vibranium. Without further ado, let's review. So what do we know about T'Challa and the Black Panther? We were introduced to both of them in Captain America's Civil War during the signing of the Sokovia Accords. After the death of his father, King T'Chaka, T'Challa took up the mantle of the Black Panther and went to pursue Bucky, who he believed was responsible for his father's death. In an unpleasant car ride, T'Challa explains to Sam and Steve what the Black Panther represents.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations, a mantle passed from warrior to warrior.
By the end of the movie, T'Challa and Bucky make amends when he finds out of his innocence and is willing to help him get rid of the Hydra codes that Bucky was conditioned to, which we saw part of this process in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we saw that it was fully complete by Avengers Infinity War. In his solo movie, we learned more about the Black Panther with its ties to royalty, Bast, and the Ancestral Plane, which I believe has ties to the Soul Stone, but that is for a future video. One of T'Challa's first challenges as king is to establish whether he is worthy of the title, which is earned through the ritual combat of Warrior Falls, where he fights M'Baku of the Jabari tribe. After tracking down and losing Ulysses' Claw, T'Challa is challenged by his cousin Killmonger, aka Eric Stevens, aka N'Jadaka, and loses. After gaining assistance from M'Baku and consuming the last of the heart-shaped herbs, T'Challa, his sister Shuri, love interest Nakia, and the Jabari tribe take down Killmonger and his forces who are about to unleash a global assault. T'Challa wins in a 1v1 with his cousin, but his perspective changes by the end of the film from Killmonger's upbringing and from what Nakia had seen in the world. As a result, he opens up Wakanda to the rest of the world with specific ideas in mind.
This will be the first Wakanda International Outreach Center. Nakia will oversee the social outreach. You will spearhead the science and information exchange.
His next appearances were in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. In Infinity War, T'Challa gives the Avengers a place in an army to defend Vision, while Shuri works on him, being the technological genius she is. However, Thanos still gets all of the Infinity Stones and snaps half of all sentient life from the universe. In that snap, at least T'Challa and Shuri were dusted. After Hulk's snap in Endgame, T'Challa again supplies his army to aid in the final fight against Thanos. Now, normally I do not address anything outside of the past mythos, but I do feel like I have to address the big elephant in the room, that being Chadwick Boseman's death over 2 years ago. Disney has refused to recast the role of Black Panther, so we will not see T'Challa take the helm of the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. So I want to take this time to look at the current status quo of the royal family. T'Chaka died in Civil War, T'Challa and Shuri were blipped for 5 years, leaving their mother Ramonda in charge, and now T'Challa has passed through some means that will be addressed. This leaves Ramonda and Shuri, and I will just slip Nakia in there in case anything comes of her relationship with T'Challa. I would like to briefly remind that there are no more heart-shaped herbs, so that'll be an interesting obstacle to tackle. In summary, T'Challa took over the rulership of Wakanda after his father's death and took up the mantle of the Black Panther. He decided to open up Wakanda to the rest of the world, allowing him to shelter the Avengers in Infinity War and supply his army in Endgame. However, we know nothing about how his death will impact the mantle of the Black Panther, nor the ruler status of Wakanda, so look out for that. Alright, now let's dig into what we know about Wakanda and Vibranium. Our first tease of Wakanda came all the way back in Iron Man 2, where Nick Fury and Tony are having a conversation about qualifications for the Avengers Initiative. However, we see a map of the world with markers across it in the background. We see points on the US East and West coasts, a point between Greenland and Iceland, a point in Northern Europe, maybe Sokovia, a point in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and a final point in Africa where Wakanda is located. Our next hint towards the hidden nation is in Captain America: The First Avenger, as Howard Stark explains the vibranium shield to Steve.
No, that's just a prototype.
What's it made of?
Vibranium is stronger than steel and a third the weight. It's completely vibration absorbent.
How come it's not standard issue?
That's the rarest metal on Earth. What you're holding there, that's all we've got.
This was our first taste of the power of vibranium, and was further explored in Avengers Age of Ultron when we were introduced to Claw and his shipload of vibranium on board. Quick tangent, this might not be the only vibranium shield out there in the world. Black Widow establishes the Red Guardian, a Soviet copy of Captain America, and his little toy has a circular shield. We did not see the shield in the movie, but we see Natasha use it in 2 What If episodes. However, my highly likely theory is that the Red Guardian shield was repainted painted and handed over to Taskmaster, but it has not been seen since the collapse of the Red Room. The one thing I absolutely hate about the shield is that there is absolutely no line of dialogue referring to the shield except this.
Glenn, is this my color?
That is it! How? Anyway, back to Avengers Age of Ultron, we see that Ultron steals Klaue's entire supply of vibranium and uses it to create what eventually would become Vision and to send Sokovia up into the sky. This was a taste of the versatility of vibranium. Once we get to the Black Panther movie, we learn that Wakanda was never colonized and is the only source of vibranium in the whole world. Not only do they have access to the strongest metal on Earth, they use it for literally everything.
It's not just the metal. They sew it into their clothes. It powers their city, their tech, their weapons. Makes my arm cannon look like a leaf blower.
They kept their development a secret by using a cloaked force field to make it look like there was nothing there and to defend themselves from intruders, as Infinity War establishes. Now, Wakanda has opened itself up to the rest of the world, but we haven't really seen much outside of the aiding of the Avengers. Outside of that, we see the Dora Milaje track down Zemo after he was broken out of prison and designing Sam Wilson's Captain America suit. On the topic of the Dora Milaje, their general, Okoye, has played a major role to the royal family. Outside of Civil War, she is T'Challa's private bodyguard, at least since he became king. During the blip, however, she can be seen in the holographic Zoom call held by Natasha as they all give updates over their appropriate areas.
You get a reading on those tremors?
It was a mild subduction under the African plate.
As a final summary, Wakanda poised itself as a poor African country despite having the strongest metal on Earth, popularly seen in the Captain America shield. Their next main relevancy was with their stolen vibranium from Klaue in Age of Ultron, and T'Challa's involvement in Civil War. In Black Panther, we see how advanced Wakanda is in about every regard, and they open themselves up to the rest of the world, but to what degree is still uncertain. Wakanda helped in the defense against Thanos, but lost, and T'Challa and Shuri were gone during the blip. The only thing from Wakanda post-Endgame so far was their involvement in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Alright, that is all you need to know before you watch Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like down below, and subscribe in order to keep up with future Before You Watch episodes. Also, please share it with those that you know will watch this movie so that they too are still in the loop. That is all. This is Pub and Fig, signing off.